I'm good.
This is gonna be the wide.
Yeah.
And then this is gonna be Rory whenever you come back. Cool.
That don't. What's the red up there that is recording?
Yeah, that guy got the single going.
I wonder how. See, I gotta figure out all of this. What's going on? How long you been doing this?
Going on 2 years.
What you do before?
I was doing accounting.
Yeah. You like this better?
Hell yeah.
More money or same money?
Uh,
Less money.
freedom.
Right. And that's worth more than money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like at first I was like, will I ever be able to make money off of this? But you just gotta grind it out and get good at what you do.
And it'll happen.
What you wanna do. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm off here off like an Instagram DM.
Serious? That's dope though. That's how it works. Like people look at me and don't know I need that kind of stuff. But if I get the DM from the right person, it's like, yo, come on. And you're like, you serious? You already rolling, bro? Yeah, dude, I needed that.
And then from there, I was like meeting people. Long story short, meet them guys. They needed a photographer. I started off doing photography, and then I ended up doing this.
Right.
And then just moving up on the ladder.
Yeah, that's dope. That's so dope. This pay off though. That's one thing I can tell somebody for real. If you really stay down and get good at something and really put work in, it will pay off.
Please hold the line.
And my thing is, I think rappers make this mistake a lot, is that you just fly right into a city and go party. Yo, welcome to It's Up There Podcast. I am your active and attractive host for another episode of the fastest growing podcast in the world. You know the vibration is high. We have great conversations in the culture with people who are influential in their market and in their space. Today, we have Rory from the new Rory Mall podcast. What's going on, my brother?
Can't complain. I'm happy to be here. I missed you last time we were in Atlanta.
Yes.
I ended up having COVID. That's why I didn't know I had COVID. I just felt like shit. When Maul was like, yo, you want to go do Loon's podcast? I'm like, I'll be honest, bro. I can't even get out of bed right now.
Yeah.
Went right back to New York. Positive for COVID.
Wow, I'm glad you
So
didn't
I'm glad
come.
I didn't go.
Yeah, for sure. Because I sure was like, yo, if Rory want to come, let him know.
Yeah, he told me. I was like, Maul, I can't get out this bed right now. So
Great,
I'm glad we finally got to link up.
Yeah, for sure, man. We was just talking about New York. Seems like everything's stacked on top of each other around here.
Yeah, and where we're at with this studio, I don't think it's the best representation of our city. I mean, we right off Canal this will come out later, so who cares? But Canal Street, I don't think is the best representation of New York energy. It's an accurate one. It's fucking nuts, but it's like times 10 on Canal. It's super overwhelming.
Right.
You go to the outer boroughs, it's a little calmer and more relaxed.
And then last time I was here, I got finessed, and I'll tell you how. Again, it's all about understanding where you're going. So going to New York, my first time in years, or on my own, I said, all right, just like somewhere else, just like LA, get there, give me a rental car, do this same thing. The rental car was the biggest mistake I could have ever
Can't
made.
find parking, have to pay for it. Yes. Just walk around and take the train.
It is a fucking beast. Even Uber. I've been going Uber, and that's been cheaper literally than if I would have, because I did research, right? This time I said, no rental car. We're going to Uber around, see what's going on. I'm prepared to spend $1,000 on Uber. Great. Cool. I went to my hotel, and I just, for inquiring minds, want to know. I said, hey, if I wanted to park my car here, if I had a rental, what does that look like? You know what they told me? $75.
I would have said like $120 for the night.
Check it out. No. $75 with no in and out privilege.
Oh, yeah, that's the bullshit with New York. Once
So
you
if
park,
I
you
got to
gotta
come
stay.
and change clothes because I'm doing another part, $75. Come
Every
back
time.
again, is it $75? Come back that night, that's $225 for that day. Then the rental car by itself would have been $800 for the 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
You know, I started looking at things like that, but it's weird.
Well, that's why even like hiring the driver for the week in New York makes more sense because they can double park outside.
Right.
Like, it's easier to move around. But
Right.
even now, like, I live in Jersey, but my girl lives in the city. I park at her garage for her building, and then I take the train. Like,
Makes sense.
that's how I move around in New
Yeah.
York to this day. I'm
see,
still on the train.
I couldn't imagine people not like people's gonna bother you. Like, yo, Loon, what's going on, man? I've been trying to get on with this shit. Like, yeah,
New York's a little different.
I
like,
know.
People
The
will say
energy-
hello to you, but New Yorkers, we have just a weird pride. That,
People not even saying hello.
yeah, they just
A
gonna
dude was pressure washing some shit. I'm coming down the thing. He pressure washing, and he stopped me. He looked dead at me. I said, "What's going on, my guy?" And he did nothing. He gave me nothing.
But that's the beauty of
But
New
guess
York.
what?
Everyone feels like, who are you? Even if you somebody who
Man,
like we don't
I
care.
pushed right up on it. Hey, I said hello, sir.
Yeah, with the power washer.
Yeah. Oh, sir, hello. I said, damn, man, it's fucked up that they like got that kind of energy. Cause my thing is to check temperatures. Hey, what's up, man? And I'm trying to really see what you own. Is you own something?
It's almost I don't want to get too deep, but it's a beautiful give and take of minding your business. So like if I see somebody with a power washer, I don't have an ego to think he has to stop power washing for me to walk down the sidewalk. I'll go around because I know next time on the next block someone's gonna not mind my business and do. It's a give and take in New York. It's actually beautiful that we all kind of operate that way. Where we get out of each other's way because we know we want people to get out of our way.
But you missing it. I didn't want him to stop pressure washing. I wanted him to speak.
Yeah. But we don't do. That's something we don't do in New York. Everyone kind of keeps to themselves when you're in a public space.
For what though?
Because we grow up on top of each other. So you're kind of.
You gotta act like you're here, but you ain't here. Like I'm like, what are they playing some weird bullshit game?
So
I'm here, dude. Somebody's right there.
But imagine growing up on top of people your whole life. It's almost a survival tactic for your own mental health to not have communication with people that you're like this with. Like you're just you're just trained.
I think you need to make sure he's not a serial killer or he's not a dangerous guy. See, I'm more threat based than privacy based. I need to figure out, who's this dude? I don't need this strange man living on top of me in the bodega, and I don't know that he's some weirdo that is in the kids, and I got a kid. Like I'm
speaking of public transportation and walking around in the street.
But I thought you related it to growing up around each other.
Within the community, of course, you have to get to know everyone around you.
Right.
But because we're already living in that world, imagine walking outside and every time I sit on the bus when I'm knee to knee with somebody on the train,
they want to talk. Every time they want to talk.
You would lose your mind.
Yeah,
so when it comes to transit and commuting, everybody in New York just shuts the up because.
And this isn't commuting. This is walking to Chick-fil-A.
That's commuting though.
Well,
to some degree.
He's not walking. He's stationary. I'm walking.
Yeah.
He's stationary doing something, and I go around him this way, right? I go behind him, right? And then he looks dead at me, and I said, yo, what's up, my guy? And he gives me nothing. Now, back in the day, because, you got to be tough to do shit like that.
But you look like the serial killer in New York in that regard. Like someone just saying what's up to you is a threat. Because we keep to ourselves when we're not in our own community, when we're just walking around.
No, I don't think so. People have said, what's up, that dude was an ass. Well, I do think New York has that energy where they don't speak. Because I have seen, like, I tell you what else I've been doing. I've been walking smoking and nobody's been paying me any mind.
Of course. I mean, if you look at the things people do in New York streets in general, smoking is that's what I'm saying. The least thing
and so I've been peeping that.
People would care about.
And then I've also said to
myself. People take a shit and everyone just walks past.
That's what I'm saying. I said to myself also when I was in my Uber, I said, this is a very dangerous place. Because again, where I'm from, see, I'm always danger based because I don't know, something is there with it, right? So I'm saying if something happens, there's no way ambulance can get to you.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that the police can get here to stop anything. Even when they hit the lights, it's like, yeah, nothing's going on, my brother. He got his nothing's happening.
I mean, up until recent, which I think is the whole world, not just New York, random acts of violence weren't New York City based. It was very much the people you knew. So
okay.
That's why, of course you're always keeping your head on a swivel, but that crazy shit that just happens when you're on the train, you keep to yourself because it's not your business. It's somebody.
And
I be
seeing that going viral. Is that real?
Now, it's changed now, but I think it's changed in the whole world. New York is just part of that, where there's just been wild shit happening. But prior to that, like when I was growing up, the people you needed to fear the most were the people you were aware of, like that you knew. It wasn't strangers. But when walking down the sidewalk in Manhattan, you wasn't like,
not if you're from Manhattan. But if you're from the South,
I'm not from Manhattan. But yeah, when we would go to the city, we were way more concerned with the people in Queens than we were in Manhattan. Yeah. It was actually kind of relieving, even if you saw some crazy shit, to know that it doesn't affect you. It doesn't bother. They're not bothering you. Don't bother them. Even if they're doing some wild shit that looks dangerous, they're not gonna attack you. That's changed, but that's been a recent thing.
Yeah, and it's your city, so I think to somebody that's coming into New York, everybody's just avatars. Yeah, it's not I'm in Manhattan, I'm in Queens. I mean, it's like, yo, all of you guys are the same, and you're moving funny, and it's a lot of you.
Which is funny because we're the most divided city ever. Like, it's different. It's different cities. Every borough is a different city. Yeah. The neighborhoods within each borough are different cities. Like, New York is extremely divided in that regard. Yeah. Like when we go out of town, and actually that's why like Atlanta's been so successful in music. Even if you guys have internal issues in Atlanta, you still move as Atlanta. New York, we've had trouble with that for quite some time. Right. But even how the city was designed, it was divided in 5 boroughs, and we're egotistical people, and we look at it that way. Right. It's New York City, but if I'm in another city. Where are you from in New York?
Queens.
Yeah.
It's the Bronx, like, BX type thing. Yeah.
When you meet people from New York, rarely do they say, I'm from New York City.
I'm from Brooklyn, Harlem. Type thing.
I'm from East Harlem. Like, they'll even go that far out of town. And that's just a mentality that we all unfortunately possess.
Man.
But, you know.
And I also seen coming up here in the Uber, someone again, because there's no room on the street, and evidently someone made a weird move and took somebody's whole door, popped out. They're in the store somewhere. They're somewhere, don't even know their car sitting out there like that, and it's literally smushed out to where it looked like it's open, but it's been ripped off the hinge from a car.
That's their fault though. Why you have your car door open?
No, I think it was closed.
Oh, you think someone opened it and then hit it?
No, I think someone hit it open. Yeah. Like, I think someone may have got over, hit it, and I'm gone. I'm just keep going. So it's just weird. All of that shit just is me picking up on it, man. I'm like, yo, this is a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
It's mental health wise, because I'm a guy, I need space. Like in the South, we got land. I love my land. Man, I go out in my socks to get grounded on the grass, like all these people telling me. You know, and I love to just be out there, but it's out here. It's like, yo, I'm in the hotel that costs an arm and a leg, and look right there, and it's somebody on the balcony or some shit. It's like a house or some shit, like right within. And I'm like,
yeah. Until I got to like my mid-20s and started like really being in other cities and really getting to know other people, I didn't even realize anxiety wasn't even really a thing at that point. But I did realize that I do have a lot of anxiety.
Yes.
Just built in me from being here.
And
like, it's just a lot going on at all times, but I normalized it. So that's where I think you get people that are dead quiet walking down the street or on the train and not acknowledge anyone, because we're dealing with our own fucking anxiety of insane things happening around us at every hour, at every moment. Yeah. We're just sitting on the train like this, and there's a million different things happening at this time. So you just kind of numb yourself. That's why we're quiet.
Yeah. And I'm like that. Like, I don't talk, man. Like, everybody that know me from the street, when they saw me podcasting, they said, the fuck? That dude was quiet. Like, he don't, unless you really know me, you don't get nothing from me. Yeah. And also, you don't get the podcast version of me on the street. I need people to understand that.
Yeah.
Like, they'll bump into me and want the podcast version of me. That's not going to happen. I have to be extremely comfortable and relaxed to even get in that mode to pod for real. Like, I'm talking when I'm really in the weeds.
Yeah.
You know, on something.
Yeah, and I've struggled with that too, because a lot of times, like, I'm so appreciative of our listeners and our fans, but when I do see them when I'm out, they typically want to have a mini podcast right then and there.
Every time.
And I appreciate them so much that I try my fucking best to do it. But I'm like, dog, I'm not in hip hop debate mode right now. Like I don't care. I don't care about Meek versus Drake right now. Like I just don't. It's just not in my brain.
Yeah, I tell my fans, listen, I'm lighting the way, and that's it. That's all I can do. I'm not gonna be able to touch all y'all. Y'all gonna exhaust me, family. Listen to the pod. I'm probably the only person putting real gems in it, like literally getting to the meat and potatoes of what's happening. If you can't get it from there, you ain't on the level to get it from me stopping and talking to you. You see?
Yeah.
Because I leave enough in the podcast. I get so vulnerable and so in the weeds with it on the pod. You can't get that version live anyway, brother.
And I'm talking to people I fuck with.
Exactly.
Which is another totally different part of vulnerability and being able to have that conversation.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm kind of an open book to some degree on my pod. So I've had listeners like meet and greets and shit. So I'll be like, oh, is your aunt still sick? I'm like, how the f? Oh, I talked about it. And like, you ain't the one I really want to talk about this with. Right. And now I have to go do a show, and now you just reminded me of some that I was trying to block out my.
Right. And then that's what I'm saying. That's why I try not to. And then I'm in the weeds of shit on the pod as well. So again, they're relatable to things like I may talk about a breakup. Forget I talked about it. It just so happened that day the pod was on, something fresh was happening from that, and it just kind of bled over. And now y'all slick know I went through a breakup. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a very weird thing, but they're really invested on podcasts, and that's why I think these kind of conversations are important from people who actually have done business in the space.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why I tried my best not to come across, not in an arrogant way, but I'm so appreciative of people that come up and tell me they with the pod. That's why I'm in that catch-22 of that. Because I want, once that stops, then the business stops. Yes. Like that's the catch-22 of podcasting. You have to remain relatable, and that's why people come up to you in the street,
right,
and talk about personal shit.
Right.
We were walking today. Fan from London just started talking about personal shit right away, and I was like, I mean, yeah, I do want to continue to go to London. I'm glad we have London fans, but you have to have a moment of vulnerability with a stranger. And
can't do that. And like we were just speaking about, like, I think my history background has a lot to do with my availability in that way. You know, I'm not in a space to, even my own producers who I pay and I hire, I still move without them, right? And it's like, I know at some point that has to stop, but I haven't figured out how to address that, you know, in regards to, like you were just saying to me, yo, you kind of got to have them around you so they can learn you and speak on your behalf, because when you're dealing with certain things, people don't know what you want because you haven't told anyone.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, we went through that, and I don't want to speak for Maul, but I know he'd be perfectly fine with me explaining this point. We went through that early on because Maul is from an untrusting environment where he's, you know, kind of on edge a lot with certain people.
Yes.
So when we were, you know, putting our team and staff together, he was reluctant too of like, all right, maybe it's just I show up and pod. But podcasting, like we're saying, is so vulnerable. Why it's successful is when it becomes organic. And that can't happen unless you're cool with everyone in the room. So much of podcasting is not the microphone. Right. It's the people that edit. It's the people that produce.
Yes.
They need to know you for real, or that content is not going to come across the best way. And we're in an era where TikTok is king. And TikTok is what, 15, 30 seconds at most? We're trying to now take long-form content, which is podcasting, and chop that shit down. A 20-minute conversation now needs to be 15 seconds to be effective.
Yes.
And if you don't have an editor or a producer that knows you for real and knows that conversation, it can't work, because there's no way they're going to chop that conversation down correctly to reflect you and your point of view.
Right.
You get the best editor in the world. They know fucking Final Cut better than anyone. They're less valuable than the editor or producer that knows you as a human being.
In podcasts in particular, yeah, I believe that. Because I think there's no template. And so you have to kind of carve out and take shit from here, there, and make your own kind of stylistic approach to it. And you can only do that with in-house people. Or it's going to burn you. It's going to run you crazy trying to do it the other way. So how are you still trusting after the Joe Budden thing? Because, I mean, Maul comes off as, like you said, yo, like me, like, yo, especially I done been burnt on that level. How the fuck are you still trusting to be like, yo, I still want to be vulnerable with new people. I still want to meet folks.
I mean, I think that's a different trust level. I don't put those two things in the same bucket, because one was a friendship that ended up being a business thing as well. These are now starting from business, but we're becoming friends. Does that make sense? Like,
there's different starting points. But I mean, in results, there's no end result for the second one. But I think they arrive at the same place.
At least with this one, I'm in control. So,
but you thought you were in control of the last one,
and I was mistaken.
Right.
Which, you know, is what it is, and that's not even really anything that I particularly care to. It's beating a dead horse at this point. So that's not something I care to discuss, but I would discuss viewing them drastically different. Like, of course I thought that, because I was a friend. Like, we were friends, and that's just how I've moved within my life. I've been burnt by friends before that, but, you know, that's, maybe I'm naive when it comes to friendships. I used to think I was a really, really good judge of character, but sometimes I haven't been. Now, with the other side of that coin, you start within business with people, and they can become friends. That's where that differs here. Because before it was friends, and then we had to do business together. So like your antennas are up in a different way. Because you going in not really knowing this person. If you guys become friends, that's amazing. It's better for business. It's better for just life.
But
before that, my antennas were never up. Like, why would they be up? That's friends. That's just a friend thing. We about to do business together. In the middle of doing business at that time, I was in business with all my other friends, with Palooza and everything. That was just how I was moving in my 20s, was I don't want to do shit unless it's with my friends. My antennas were never in the regard of who's going to fuck me over. Because I don't walk into friendships that way.
Okay.
I walk into associationships that way. But friendships, I don't walk in that way.
Here's my thing, though, right? What I think you find the issue is in the friendship. I think the friendship is what pulled the wool over the eyes.
Sure.
Right? So if we both arrive, no matter how you get to being my friend, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's through business, if it's through a girl I know, if it's through a job I had. Once you get to that friend side, you now have the ability to fuck over me, because I handle my friends with a certain vulnerability.
Yeah.
So I think that's more so what I'm saying is, like, I know you approach them different, they arrive different, but they both land in this space where you are vulnerable no matter what to your friends, at least for me.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't understand how you let people even back to that door with everything that's already transpired. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that takes, as cliche as it sounds, that takes therapy. That every situation is not the same situation, and you shouldn't enter it with the baggage that you had before. You should figure out the flags that were within your last situation, whether that be romantic, friendship, business, whatever. You should look back at everything that happened, see the flags, see the moments, and just keep that close to you. You shouldn't, because that's what's so fucked up about not wanting to feel anymore and walking into relationships that way, is that when it's time to feel, you don't know how to feel. Because I did that for a while.
Yeah.
And the best thing I did actually learn in therapy in that regard is it's okay to continue to feel and not walk into situations with that armor on, because you could still, I mean, it's within conversations with real therapists, not the ones that, not trendy therapists.
Yeah. But I'm saying, the therapist is not dealing with the effects of what happened. So that's the person you need to talk to. Like, I've trauma bonded with a bunch of people that have been through certain situations that I've been through, but I didn't get any tools from it. I just got somebody that went through something that I went through, and I didn't feel alone. It felt cool to know that there's other people that have been through the hurt that I've been through. And this has nothing to do with pod shit at this point. This is just like my real life. It's pod. Yeah.
That I had been through when I talked to an objective therapist that honestly did not care in particular what I went through that can just give me an objective view to say, hey, look back at those. What were the red flags? Keep those red flags in your mind when you go in to the next situation, relationship, friendship. But remember, when you still want to continue to feel, right? Like, I don't want to be this cold, shut down person that I was for a really long time. Like, you become just, that just fuels anger, I feel like, at the end of the day. I have a very short fuse, which is a lot of my built up shit from my childhood, because I never wanted to feel because I felt so much hurt. Now I can at least identify what was going on at the time and realize I'm not going to let that happen to me again. But I want to feel. I'm not going to go into this thinking everything's going to be negative, because I do want love. Like, love is important.
Yeah, it's very important.
Feeling love is important. Giving love is probably more important.
But
I can't give love when I have just this shut off, I've been through so much, so I can't trust anybody. Yeah, that's fucked up. But I can identify what could hurt me again, at least.
Yeah, but shit.
So it's not in vain.
I'm just not a fan of somebody.
I hope that made sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think I just ain't a fan of people telling me, yo, be vulnerable again. And it's like, yo, you know how long it took me to pick myself back up from that? You know what that done to the infrastructure of my life, right? So I have to be extremely careful, Mr. Therapist. But you're telling me, no, you have to, and I'm, no. You don't know what it took to pick myself back up from that. And so I think because I respect process, it's like, almost under no circumstances do I want to ever be put back in that situation where I now have to pick myself back up.
But vulnerability is 99% of a personal thing. We can get on podcasts and talk to people that we trust and care for and be vulnerable with them. We can be vulnerable with a therapist that we don't know from a hole in a wall. The only common factor there is that you're getting your feelings and truth out at that time. It's for you. Sometimes it does not matter who's on the other end. That's actually why I've enjoyed podcasting, back to the fan conversation. We can't see the people that we're talking to right now, but we're being vulnerable. We're getting that out. So sometimes it doesn't matter who's on the other end. It's stuff that we need to get out, and we can't stop ourselves from doing that because we're scared who's on the other side of it. Like, shit, even on this press run where I got some shit off that I had been holding in. Yeah, I didn't kind of care who I was talking to. It was more so I finally was able to get it out. Not that anyone made me feel more comfortable in a certain place. It was just something that I needed to get out, and I felt better after. I saw comments that were hateful. I got it out, though, so I felt better. But so we can't put too much on the person we're being vulnerable to, rather than focus on...
No, you can't. I can. You can't, but I will, because it's too much. It costs me too much. See, it's what I spend to get back to the place I'm in right now. Yeah, it's too much. No one can comprehend it, right? I had to come from something that I guaranteed these guys haven't came from.
Fair, so, something I wouldn't understand.
It's like, yo, I'm telling you to get all the way back through that. You spent everything you had, and I don't mean money. I mean energy, mentally spent. Yeah. Right? And if they put me back there at this age, putting me back in that hole, in that dark place with everything I have, because it's no longer even about me. And that's what I try to get therapists and people that talk that to understand that, yo, you want me to focus on me when now I've been put in position of where I'm responsible for other than me. So if I do what you asked me to do and get as vulnerable again and become hurt, now that decision to place myself there now affects all these other people that literally are living off me, my kids, my mom, all these people, because now I can't work. Now I'm feeling down in the dump. I can't get myself back up. It's going to take months. I got to get into these studies, these books. I got to get back into this saging or whatever it's going to take. It's a weird process.
I don't want to get too deep, but you said become hurt again. I feel like that just means you're hurt. You're still hurt as fuck, which is fine. Yeah. But that hurt can't be cured unless you go through that process. And sometimes therapy is not it. I'm not the end-all be-all therapy person, but talking about it is at least the start, because you saying you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to be hurt again, to me says you're just hurt, which is okay. Yeah. And you can't support, whether it be family, employees, your own goals, when you're kind of just wallowing in hurt?
You can't. But again,
no. Listen, I am a very hurt human being.
I know. I did in the street.
I did it for quite some time of my life. The way like people talk about functioning alcoholics, like you could just walk out and be drunk and no one knew. I do that with depression and hurt all the time. Like I have ran businesses when I was in the lowest point of my entire life. My point here is saying it was not to the best value and degree of everyone around me until I tried to let go of some of that hurt.
I think I
became a better person for everybody.
I can respect that. I respect that, but you got to respect what I'm saying. My upbringing and what the position I'm in, right? The way I feel about things, how I feel, like it's just what I've been able to overcome. I cannot see myself overcoming again. You know, it's like I don't know if I even have in me, because my situation has been so crazy is that as I left the street, right, and built this multi-million-dollar company, I lost everybody because I now don't operate on that vibration. Right now, that means I lost a woman that really loved me. I lost homies to the federal prison. I just lost a homie 2 days ago. Literally, I'm still like, bro, connected to, like, I ain't far from the corner, you know? So it's like, yo, I'm extremely paranoid as to do not fumble this fucking ball because you can't get back to this place. And to be honest with you, I probably could. If I really buckled, like, no matter what, I can probably get back to this place. But it's like, I know what I spent, bro. I know what it took. And I know, and don't get to my podcast and not talk about all of the shit, right? So I want to talk to you about everything, right? And not just bullshit, and it's not beating a dead horse. And I want to talk to you about this, what we was just talking about, is that you are I want your fans to know this. You really care what they think. 100%.
Of course.
I try to block my fans out.
I understand that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I even cut my comments off. Like, and it's like, I don't want you applauding me, or I don't want you telling me I'm shit. Yeah. I just want to I want to tunnel vision this thing out.
Both are harmful. Both are very harmful.
Okay, let's talk.
Matter of fact, sometimes the praise is
that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. Because, bro, just think about that. Like, and motherfuckers, I had a point of time where I was getting. And this is what made me cut my comments off, and I'm gonna get this game to the youngsters. It was a point in time I was getting 600-700 of fire. This is comments. Yep. And what that did to me when I was podcasting is made me chase that arena that those were coming in, and the rest of the podcast will suffer because I spend the podcast looking for those moments that I know will go on socials. And so it's dangerous. So I cut my comments off.
It makes you content. Like, I guess I put every like metaphor and comparison into music, and usually because I'm a Hove stan, I kind of base his life off a lot of shit when I view business. I remember when we all said, Hove, at this point you are probably the greatest rapper of all time. He gave us Magna Carta, and it's not a bad album per se, but we was like, bro, we don't really want to hear you just tell us how rich you are for the rest of your career. Right. And that sparked he got content. He was the GOAT. Like, he was the fucking GOAT.
So listening to his fans did.
We put a fire in his ass as a fan base of like, yo, you need to go a little further in your life. Like, we don't want to hear your victory lap right now. And then we get 444 couple years, 5-6 years later. Yeah. But I think it's just too much praise just leaves you content.
Exactly. And I got no negative. Listen, on my socials, I go platinum every time. No negative comments, 4,000-5,000 shares, 12,000-15,000 likes. I mean, it's a surprise party. I mean, and that I said, damn, here I am. Because And my pod means so much to me. And I think that's why I can do my fans like that. That's why I can tell them no. Because they know, bro, really give it in that pod, man. And sometimes, like, I had to tell my fans that I care so much about the pod, because if I really wanted to, if I was feeding my ego, I would just keep doing that, because, boy, it's going. That shit is going. But I know and understand. I told Charlamagne this earlier. Ego is stolen and confidence is built. Confidence is earned, but ego is it's not real. And especially when you find yourself feeding it, it's a very dangerous thing. And that was allowing. That's what I was doing, man. I was saying, dude, get in the podcast. Now I'm already thinking how I'm gonna get into that little arena right there. What am I gonna do to get into that arena? It's like, no, bro, I need to tackle these topics, these, because I'm still building audience. Yeah. And like you said, it'll put you in that placeholder. It's like, I can only serve the people that enjoy this. Yep. And that doesn't work.
And even ego is so self-built. Like, it's such a perception, because I've watched even, especially people on the internet, loving to be the villain. Like, the villain makes them, that drives their ego. Yes. So they'll continue to just throw themselves out the window with extremely wild takes. Yes. Like, they just want to be hated so bad because that's what drives their ego. And then there's people that just want so much fucking love. And if you say one critique about them, their ego's like, ego is the most interesting human.
Where do you live at in that? Because like, even when we was talking, I'm like, yo, Rory, man, like a couple years ago, before I knew you, you know, a couple people hit me and say, yo, Rory getting people checks at the BET, helping people get into the BET thing.
I mean, behind the scenes have helped a lot of your favorite podcasters that we've never said it out loud.
And then I'm saying, yo, what's
up with that? I've gotten them with agencies. I've gotten them actual real deals. I've put money in more people's pockets, but I did that out of actual love, and I never...
But you are in sport. It's like LeBron said, yo, don't take my stats. Just, I'm out here balling today. Fuck the stats. Nobody count the points. But it's just for the game, baby.
Okay, but even that I guess maybe goes to my ego, because I think ego can be healthy if it's channeled correctly. Yes. My ego is actually boosted in that regard. Like, I laugh when the narrative on the internet that says I hate podcasting and I never wanted to podcast. Meanwhile, I have done more for podcasters than probably most people in the space at all. Charlamagne has done more.
Yeah, he the GOAT with that. He done gave assists. I've seen.
Of course. And that's why I really respect Charlamagne. I know we all have like the fun back and forth shit. I respect Charlamagne fully. I would put myself very close to second as who has moved a lot of shit for podcasters within the new era. You have Combat Jack, Chris Morrow. They are legends in what they did for everybody. But the plays I put together have, are up there. But that drives my ego rather than needing someone to say that out loud or tell that story. That's why I just laugh at Rory doesn't give a fuck about podcasting. No, I give so much a fuck that I have put every last one of your podcasters with UTA, and with again, WME.
I've had those calls. I'm telling you, before I met you, a couple people hit me like, yo, you interested in the BET thing? Rory is helping dudes. I can probably get on the line. I'm like, nah, it's all good. And they're like, no, he got this person to check to get in there. He got that person to check to get in there. I'm like, yo, shout out to Rory moving and shaking on the back end. But here's where I find issue. I said, damn, I just push up on you with them. Like, yo, they said you was helping people. And you like, yo, I don't really like to say nothing. And I'm like, yo, but why? People take shots at you. People say certain things about you. Like, this is for the sport too, bro. Like, and how people view you affects business in the same way as stopping to have that conversation with that fan, right? Because also what could turn that fan off is not only you not being organic, but the idea that people turn the way that he views you. People can turn these fans against you.
Oh, I've watched it.
Right.
With absolutely
so I'm telling you, like, not only do we have to worry about our availability for the people that listen to us and try to be organic, we also got to pay attention to how we're viewed in the market.
But I guess I do take the shit so seriously that I don't look at that section of it as sport. If I'm doing back and forth, I think it looked nastier.
Not back and forth.
If I replied,
Truth and lies.
Look at all the shit I've done. Look at my accolades. Like, to me, that's like when people do charity and post it on Instagram. It's like,
if you do it that corny,
that was never my intention to do it.
But I'm saying you can't do it that fucking corny and just say, yo, he's taking shots. Nigga, look at my accolades. It's like, no, you're actually wrong about me not liking podcasts. Actually, I'm the guy that put such and such on the line with such and such because I care that much.
Or put more money in podcasters' pockets again, that were once signed with somebody. Like,
here we go. And so that's the angle, not the angle of, yo, oh, he said my name, beat my chest. Dude, I'm the dude that make the most money. No, it's, yo, ho. You're trying to tell my people that I don't care about podding? Hold on. I'm the guy that I'm the guy. This is what they do to you. They can't wait to clear out and say, hold on, I'm the guy that did this and do that, because they understand the value in the viewing public.
But also, I know because I am self-aware. Unfortunately, I think this is where most of my depression comes from. Yes. Like self-awareness.
Yes.
I know people have played with me just on microphones, not in actual real life, because they know different. They wouldn't do it in that regard. They know I'm not going to reply. And I've replied in some ways, but people are allowed to get a lot of lies off because they know, they've seen how easy it is to get lies and narratives off, because I look at that shit so fucking corny that I'm like, I'm not even going to reply to that
even
lie.
If it
like, that's not
business?
even remotely close to the truth. Why am I going to entertain some shit that is so far from the fucking truth?
For the same reason you stop and talk to that fan. Again, because we're dealing with the perception of the people that care about me. Again, you're at the top of the mountain with a bullhorn, and you're screaming down to not only your people. Now, if we had it caged off where only your people were privy to that, get off.
Well, I guess I'll ask you, because I guess mainly with the pod world to some degree, I've admitted that there was personal feelings within that. To protect my own mental health, like, I'm about to get in the ring and do this shit and just have a back and forth of fucking who could lie on each other better.
Yeah, no.
Like that.
That's not.
And again, I know for a fact I am not innocent in this entire shit, period, within media. It doesn't have to be specifically with, I know, with Joe's podcast or anything, period. Even when Charlemagne, me, Schultz, everyone, we was all going back, I know for a fact I am not innocent. I've thrown shots. I've done things. At this point, I don't want to use the daughter shit, but that was also a big eye opener too. Like, all right, today we're going to decide to walk into the studio and start a back and forth microphone conversation from a camera and just yell at each other back and forth who can deliver lies more entertaining. Because these people don't care about the truth.
Right.
They care about the entertainment. And guess what? I will fully admit too, the liars are way better entertainers than me.
I don't agree.
I can't keep up with.
I don't agree
with how good you are at lying in your entertainment.
I don't agree with that.
You're too good at it.
Yes, and I agree with that. Motherfuckers are good at their entertainment,
and I'm not about.
But I believe that the truth. I believe that the truth will outlast that. I believe the lie cannot stand next to the truth. Now, I believe that the noise may be louder. But I believe if you present because for you, it's back and forth. For me, it's good and evil. It's truth and lies. You see, it ain't back and forth. It's you're lying about me to the people that I know are potential customers. Because here's another thing in podcasting that I need the youngsters to understand. And I tell my audience this. My job has always been a few things. I put my podcast out. I identify my viewers. I take my viewers and then identify my customers. With my customers, I serve them at a higher level, right? And that's how I keep them customers. Every viewer is not a customer. We know that to be the case. So what I'm saying is, but every viewer could be a potential customer. So I'm saying if someone is affecting the way that my potential customers interact with my business, and it's lies, I just don't see myself saying, you know what, it's corny for me to clear that up. Because, again, it's not back and forth. It's truth and lies. Every single time you put smut on my jacket, I got to let my people know it's not smut on my jacket until they start to come out and say, nah, we know. It's no smut on this jacket, and we know that trick. For you and you and Maul's situation, it seems like the other side has been able to kick up a lot of dust, and no one's been able to really say, hey, I don't know about that. Like that maybe don't sound right. Even I didn't see traction, and I'm gonna let you talk. I didn't see traction even what you say, the whole baby thing, when you're like, yo, the timeline don't match up. It just died. It's like that was literally something that it just died.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I said,
but that what I was about to say, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
My next thing I was gonna say was, Loon, I got my feelings. And I'm someone that will admit I get in my feelings. I know everyone wants to be this fucking tough guy that they control. Nah, sometimes I get in my fucking feelings and I say shit.
Things, yeah.
It's not playing victim. I was just hurt at the fucking time about some specific shit. I told the truth for a little bit on a big platform, got a lot of views. Didn't change the narrative.
Didn't change it at all.
So I regretted even telling the truth, and that's kind of my point on why it proved to myself in some degree that I've been right the entire time of not addressing shit. Because look what happens when I told the truth.
Let's talk about
that. Shit didn't matter. Like you can add up dates in a calendar. I didn't create how the fucking earth moves.
Right.
That was the biggest lie on earth.
Yeah. And
that should make you wonder about everything else. Like, but I left it alone and I regretted it after that happened. I felt good from a mental health perspective, getting that out of me.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But when the internet shit, I was like, oh, see what happens? Like, you can tell the truth, and instead of listening to the facts, it's, yo, he's mad, hurt. Why he's still talking about that? I said, I'm not talking about it.
And you got to ignore that. You got to ignore that because those are his stands.
Of course.
They have people on each side. My have people. Trap Lord Ross has people. Like, Trap Lord Ross people was upset at me when Trap Lord Ross...
episode, by the way.
Appreciate it. When he admitted on there, Loon, you're right, 100 fucking times. And his fans came under there and said, yo, man, you don't like him because he white. You just don't want him talking about black culture.
He legitimately said, you know what? I think I am obsessed.
So what more can we do?
And I guess that's kind of my point. When
I
want to tell the truth, because it's like, the truth does not matter in this. This is entertainment.
Now, here's what I say to
entertainment. So they can be better at lies with entertainment. So maybe I don't want to hang in that world.
But you're in it, and you're making money.
No. See, that's what we need to address, because I've seen a lot of those comments after like the few things I have said, like, oh, you're not built for this podcast shit. No, y'all are trying to make podcasting one thing, and now you're devaluing the entire space. Matter of fact, the biggest podcast in the world is not this salacious bullshit that we do.
I don't do
not even remotely close as far as dollars and impact is with this salacious fucking back and forth internet thug bullshit y'all do. So no, I'm not built for this back and forth. Who can yell lies to their friends?
Is that what he's saying though? Is that what he's saying?
That's what the fans are all. I'm saying more for the fan.
But when he said it in particular, you guys are not built for this. I believe truly that he's saying conversation. Like y'all just are not built to go back and forth, point for point. I think that's what the guy's saying. No, I don't. But I think because
I did it right. The points were made in this exact room we're sitting in now. What other points need to be? Points don't the history. You can't rewrite history.
And it didn't change. Maul spoke to me for 2 hours. We had a phenomenal conversation.
Love that episode.
And it done great. Now here's what I would say about the truth, or that in particular, because again, I viewed that away. Like, how did that die like that? Why didn't that catch any steam? And I said to myself, as great as T-Rail and them is, because them my guys,
Love
AD.
T-Rail.
That whole squad over there, especially AD, right? That's who I really had the relationship with.
Solid
but
guy.
Shout out to all of them, right? Because they hustling. As good as they is, that ain't this. Far as people come here for the information about this shit, like how to navigate podcasts, and not even just this. There's arenas to do it in. You don't have a boxing match in a UFC octagon, right? You address certain things in a certain manner, i.e. DJ Vlad. I'm sure he's trying to address Tyrese, but he has to find the arena to do it. He just can't I can't just pull up anywhere and do this. I need this to be in a space where it actually has the value I'm intending it to have. I think with AD and T-Rail and them, although they have great conversation, I think it's entertainment based. Yeah. It's not like a real talk, like a that type of vibration. And I think when you live in that spot, the reaction is a bit different.
Speaking of the AD and T-Rail thing, to even make this more full circle, I went there for a reason. They are an up-and-coming podcast, and I've done nothing but support up-and-coming podcasts. I knew when I went on this press run, I was going to be asked about shit I had been quiet about. I'm not dumb. I know no matter what, wherever I go, I'm going to be asked about certain individuals.
Yes.
I wanted to go and give those views to an up-and-coming pod that I really fucked with. I could have sat with fucking Charlemagne and Schultz and gave the fucking biggest Joe bashing.
You think? I don't think. Well, I was with Schultz yesterday. He not going. He is fucking not going.
He didn't go to Roots Picnic either.
No, Schultz. no. I'm saying I think he was on tour. They was talking about that.
No, I know. But I'm saying
with the Joe thing.
If I'm gonna talk about that, I'm gonna go to pods that I fuck with rather than, like, to me, I hate the term clout chasing, but it does describe in the best way what people do in that regard. I could have went to the biggest platform to go give my fucking response, and I was offered that from when we split up to the album to everything.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I went to go fuck with Bootleg Kev because I fuck with his podcast, and I knew we weren't going to get into Salacious shit. Right. I knew AD and T-Rail were about to get into the Salacious shit. I would rather give that to two dudes that I see building a platform that I fuck with and two good people and support this genre for real rather than going to a way bigger publication where I know I'm going to get more views. I'm going to get more even looks to the album I'm trying to promote. Like that was a very conscious decision.
Yeah.
So that's where my heart lays. If I have to do the messy shit, I want to do it with purpose.
But you end up hurt with it though, because you said like, damn, I got that off. And it's like, damn.
But you don't know about that hurt until you get it off. I didn't know yet. I knew it was good. I wasn't even walking into AD shit thinking I was even gonna react the way I reacted. I'll be honest. That came from anger. Again, I regret it a little bit.
It seemed like you wanted to get it off though. It seemed like
that's why it came out that way.
Yeah.
And in other platforms that I was, doing press run shit with, it didn't fester the way that it did when I got to AD spot. Maybe because AD has been through something similar. Maybe
exactly. Oh, that makes sense.
Like a lot of shit. Yeah. A lot of shit was just welcoming in that, but I wanted to have that conversation with them. And what I hated about that response from the internet. Did you listen to the full episode?
Yeah.
I gave nothing but trials and tribulations of me just navigating through the podcast world for them. Like, that was a great episode. Of course, it got condensed to the 15 minutes that was the Salacious shit. But I'm proud of that episode. That was a great conversation.
Yeah, I listened to
so much positivity was part of that just didn't get the same views.
And I think
that's
because
why Salacious shit does.
But I think they're entertainment. I think they're like Cassinet and them. They're more like entertainment. Versus conversation.
Yeah.
I think it is conversation, but there's an element of entertainment there. There's a lot of laughing. There's a lot of, when you come to Loon, everybody know, like when this Charlemagne episode drop, it's going to break the internet. Shit he's never spoke about.
Yeah.
Ever spoke about, right? And so certain things, like I got B. Marshall next, already recorded. That's coming out. Him and Fred Taylor about the I Am Athlete thing. Because again, it's important for us, if we really care about podcasting, for those who have been through things, to light the way.
Yeah.
And the only way to light the way is to tell these young boys what you've been through and how I've overcame it, as well as what I've learned from it. So when I sit down with B. Marshall and Fred Taylor, I want you to understand the importance of my platform, because those two guys won't sit down with the same person, even if it's Breakfast Club.
That's a fact. Yeah.
They don't care who it is. If you sit down with one, the other one won't come.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm the only person, because they respect what I stand for in the market, right? And they both got on there and said, the only reason I'm doing this is because it's you and because I know you information. It ain't just salacious. You want me to get on there and say, fuck, dude. You want me to talk about the money I lost.
Yes.
How did I lose it? How was I tricked? What happened? You know what I'm saying? And that's the things, like I asked those guys the same questions to try to really get to where did y'all fall off? What the fuck happened with this?
Yeah.
2 athlete guys had millions when you started. How did y'all fall? And so sometimes I think it's more based on arena than it is. I know, and whether you fuck with them is cool, but sometimes, man, I gotta be behind the arc for the 3 to count.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care. In my mind, I that's a 3. Nah. You got to be in position for that 3 to count.
I mean, even your episode with Maul, like what I appreciated the most out of that was, of course, I know Maul's story. It's my story too. I was there for everything. Having someone that's respectable and objective was the best way to go about that.
Exactly.
Because even, we know how these publications do. Like, they'll hit us up and be like, "No, we on your side,
right?
So let's do like."
Yes.
I don't want someone to come in here, pause, and like suck
it's
my
really
dick. And like, no,
information. Yeah,
like, be objective. Like, where you
like,
see,
hold on, what are you saying? How did that make sense?
I don't want this to be some bashing session. Like, tell me how right I am.
That's what
and
I'm
that's
saying.
what I fucking hate with this. And that's what I loved about the episode with you and Maul.
Right.
I watched it like, yeah, all right, bet. I love that that's his point of view without any details, just looking at it, how we look, how everything looks.
Right.
That's so important right now.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what even I tell Charlamagne, and that's why he was able to open up with me, is that even I had to tell him he's big dog. He's big man in the space, bro. And I had to tell him, look, you have a obligation to over communicate. We all do, bro. Once we get information, we can't touch everybody.
Yeah.
The only thing they have is these conversations, because and as Charlamagne said, how you know that, Loon? Because that's all I had. When I was on the outside, all I had was when they broke down that deal. What can I get from just that conversation? Anything to light the way for me to go into this meeting to even know that word exists. Right? That's all these people have. And so our selfishness sometimes keeps us in a place where it's like, yo, I don't want to talk about it. And for y'all in particular, I think it's more so y'all think the audience is tired of it, or y'all think that there's a section of people that's saying, yo, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. What I believe that to be is people who are now being convinced of what they didn't believe at first, and they're telling you to shut up. It's like somebody saying, yo, man, let me talk to you. I think I seen your girl down at STK with a guy. Stop that.
Yeah.
Stop that. You know, and then he tell you a little more detail. She still got that red car.
And that now you adding shit up.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I don't want to hear about. I don't want to hear anything else about that, because you put it too close to what could be. I could be wrong about what I believe.
That's
right?
a talent, though.
Very good
to
talent.
Stretch.
Yes.
And did you read the 48 Laws of Power book?
Yes.
I've read
been a while, but yeah.
I've read it 3 times, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to be a good person. It made me feel weird.
Okay.
It's a very extremely manipulative book.
Yes.
And I think because I'm
high level manipulation.
I think because I'm such an extreme person, and I don't know if that comes from parents that are addicts, but like everything about me is extreme sometimes if I go there.
Right.
I said, if I really take this book, I'm not gonna be a good person.
For sure.
Like I know my level of intelligence.
Yes.
I actually even know my level of being manipulative to some degree.
Yes.
I read it 3 times trying to make myself feel better about adopting some of that, and for my own shit. I don't want to sound like I'm a good person. I'm not above anyone.
I had no choice but to adapt some of it. I had to adopt some of it.
You were in a much different situation where that is for safety rather than it is for business when it comes to me.
But that book, like you said, if you are objective and you're not trying to feed your ego with that book, because again, a lot of people run to these things to really arm themselves to get over on their people.
I've adapted my whole life, and if I went full adapted on that, I know it'd be great financially.
Right.
I'd be the nastiest human being ever, because I know I could master that.
Yeah,
I could master that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I read it when I was older,
with
I
the
was
sense.
fucking 21 when
And
I read
bit
that
apple.
shit.
Yeah, that shit gets weary, bro. That shit gets crazy. But you know, salute to AD and T-Real. I think, like I said, they're moving out there. Them and No Jumper, that was a strange situation. Actually, Adam hit me. He want me to come back out there. See, that's the thing. The game respects me, man. When I go and I'm critical of Adam, I'm critical of people.
Should be.
Because again, I'm objective, but everyone knows. Hold on, listen to what he's saying though. He's not. See, I'm not one of those guys when I say I'm critical of you, where I'm just on the mic saying, "Yo, fuck that dude."
There's an explanation.
Yeah, it's like, yo, no. I think he made a bad move because I see the market adapting to this, and that's why I think, you know, it's like, and if you take that away, handle it like you took it away when you see me. I don't want no press conference with podcasters. I don't want to do no bunch of talking. Yeah. If there's anything that they took away, and this is a PSA to anyone, don't tell me. When you see me, handle it like it's a problem, because I have an obligation to over-communicate. It's my obligation. Like I just was talking to my homie Dollar. Shout out Dollar. I'm telling him, like, when I posted Boosie being arrested, and I posted like, yo, I do this shit literally just to show dudes you don't gotta go ball player, you don't gotta go rapper, you don't gotta go club promoter, you can go podcast. I got real street niggas hitting my thing saying, Loon, I'm gonna have to hit you for something, like I'm trying to go that route. And so what I mean is, before I leave them niggas out on the island, I beef with these industry niggas.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm more concerned about them people because I was out there. I just got lucky enough to be from the streets and a boss in the street where I know how to maneuver. So I come straight out the street in the podcast and then boom, bam, bam, boom, boom. And went and got some deals and shit is moving. Most people don't have that know-how, you know? And so I think we have an obligation to speak, man.
What would be your opinion if Vlad had reached out to do?
For me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because after I watched your episode that I love with Trap, what's
Trap Lord Ross. Yeah.
I am curious what your Vlad. I don't think you going on Vlad would make sense. Vlad coming on your show would make the most sense to have an actual conversation.
Yeah, and I think those guys are spooked to me a little. Because I think
he would just ask you a bunch of fucking, like, tell me when you sold drugs.
Yeah,
or some
but,
shit. Like,
but see, I'm too swift.
And I don't think he would do that. That's why I asked. I think it's valuable to have someone like Vlad on your platform after I watched that last episode. Because I was one of those people early that was like, we shouldn't platform people that we think are taking advantage of shit. I've softened up on that if we can have real conversations to let people know. The same way you got old boy to say, oh yeah, maybe I am obsessed with Vaughn.
Right. And but this is what I need.
But
even my
you
fans
think he'd have a conversation with you?
Vlad?
Yeah.
I'm sure he will. Like I don't know. Now, of course, here's the thing about all of these industry guys. Now it makes sense to have a conversation with me. Damn it, he's established. Prior to that, it's like, duck him. Everybody don't act like you don't see him. Act like nobody act like he ain't right there. Just
till you can't avoid him, and now it's part of the.
Yeah, now he's part of the. So let's not. But the thing with these guys, I know they know based on my conversation, I'm equipped with a certain level of information.
It's up there. It's up there. Ooh, we thank y'all so much, man. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, it's your boy Loon from It's Up There Podcast. Thank you for watching the video you just watched, and make sure you subscribe by hitting the button you see on the screen, or go to the next video by hitting this right here you see on the screen. Biggest Up There Podcast.